Hello, welcome back, and today, for part 3 of my Phantom Menace review, we will be discussing the reviews by both Red Letter Media and Confused Matthew. Now, if you haven't seen these reviews, I will put a link to part 1 of both reviews down below in the description area. And also remember that this is not written by me, or at least most of it isn't. It is mostly an idea by Reviewers 1. Check him out right down in the description bar. This could take a while too, so let's get started. Qui-Gon ran the blockade because, yes, it was designed to stop them, but the guards at Leia's cell were also designed to stop people. Just because villains have a plan doesn't mean it's foolproof. Also, with the shield, they would stand a chance. That doesn't mean any ship with a shield could pass through, just they would have to chance it, like Luke and Han had to chance with their laser blasters, but not without. And Matthew complains that Padme's one vote of no confidence deposed Valorum, but it was a vote of no confidence that most people in the Senate supported. Most people wanted Valorum out, but no one wanted to be the one to do the official deposing. And also, as established in episode 2, Padme was the leader of a whole movement, so she represents many senators. Also, they had guns in the armrests of the throne to serve as a means of security against assassinations. Not for war purposes. Wanting to be peaceful internationally does not mean being peaceful towards any simple assassin. And also, Padme later on fought the victory in an all-out because she had a character arc. That wasn't an inconsistency. Also, when Qui-Gon met the Gungans, he did know that they were going to invade the Naboo. They were sending armies towards them, and they think it will affect the Gungans as wars often affect neighbors or warring countries, and the trade feds were invading, so if they want control over the planet, they probably want to make sure no area can oppose them. Also, Matthew, the Republic isn't a single person. It's an organization of many people. Many people within an organization can interact with each other. There is also trade between fellow Americans. So yes, republics can trade with each other, and one organization can blockade a planet within the same society. The same way a group of American hippies can block an American meats factory entrance. Also, Anakin could build C-3PO in a scanner and a pod racer, as the technology for it wasn't as rare as for Qui-Gon's ship, and he probably just used parts. And also 3PO is useful for Anakin's mom. Protocol droids can talk with machines, making repairing them easier. In fact, Owen, in episode 4, who bought him, that pretty much the same work as Shmi. And C-3PO actually helped repair the Falcon in episode 5. And Anakin can build his own version of an existing droid as it were more useful. And about him not repairing Watto's droid, that is so. Anyways, it is just so nitpicky. But fine, maybe because it was unsalvageable. Okay. Also, the victory wasn't hiding, as he felt completely protected by his army. In the words of Governor Tarkin, evacuate in our moment of triumph. I think you can overestimate their chances. Also, he says it makes sense that they didn't leave the Jedi in the room longer, but they had left them in there for quite a long time. And as for the Gungan city, you can train to hold your breath in real life for that long. They used breathing machines to the Gungan city, because as we saw, it was a lot deeper, and that is why no one could see it from above. And they could swim so deeply because they were Jedi. It gives increased stamina and durability. Also, they first blew the ship up so they couldn't fly away and ask for help. Also, Palpatine knew that Padme wouldn't sign the treaty, as he knows she is brave and that he had the Jedi attack so they wouldn't force the blockade to be lifted. And also, he knew that they would help the Queen escape. And he questions Palpatine seeing so far in the future in his episode 2 review, saying it would make no sense he didn't see Vader's betrayal coming, but it actually is in perfect continuity and adds a lot of thematic depth. Palpatine bases his plans around people being easily seduced or naive. He wasn't prepared for Vader being so wise, and he saw that in Jedi, aside from Vader betraying him, everything he had planned right up until his defeat. Also, Qui-Gon used the Force to steal in order to save lives because he trusts his heart in trying to protect innocent people in defiance of what anyone else thinks. That actually adds a layer of ambiguity to his character. Yoda allowed Obi-Wan to train Anakin, as he was going to do it anyways, and they didn't want to lose a loyal Jedi. Oh, and Qui-Gon didn't manipulate the Gungans to fight for them, as there is a difference between stealing from innocent people to save innocent people and forcing people to die in battle. Repeat, die to save the innocent. Also, the Gungans attacking would work to their advantage, as it would allow them to take out a strong part of the resistance. And the droid might have take orders regardless if the victory is captured, but they won't be able to adapt easily to their attacks. Oh, and the scene where they visit the Gungan city established many important things. It showed the Gungans dislike the Naboo because of their arrogance, that Qui-Gon manipulated and stole to do what he thought was right, that Jar Jar was banished, how Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon have similar philosophical beliefs on symbiosis, and also the monster chase was supposed to be fun, not tensionful. The Jedi are very calm and wise. It is just supposed to be fun, like watching the T-800 shoot all the police cars in T2, or Maximus fighting other gladiators in guess what movie, or Legolas and Gimli taking on all the orcs in Lord of the Rings. Red Letter Media says the droids are totally ineffective, and this takes tension out of the film, but the Jedi defeating them is supposed to be fun, not tensionful. It gives you the joy of your heroes being victorious. Oh, and they were effective against the Gungans, their larger numbers, and taking out Naboo soldiers and standouts. And Darth Maul was a fierce opponent, and the blockade was dangerous. There's a lot of tension-filled moments. Simply not the whole film is like that. If some action moments are easily handled, this makes the one that are more exciting. Oh, and silly me, I forgot Batman vs. the soldiers on Ra's al Ghul and the Joker, the X-Men vs. Stryker troops in X2, Blade vs. vampires, Indiana Jones against the sword guys and Raiders. Oh, and Doom. And the Seven Samurai, they defeated the robbers easily. In fact, this is very common in action flair. Oh, and Anakin was a pilot for Watto. This is compatible with being a slave. Matthew says all the Anakin's characters are supposed to be as contradictory, but it's not. He's a mama's boy, which a slave can be, as he was a well-treated slave, a genius. Mama's boys can be smart, love-struck. Anyone can be that, a builder of things. Well, he does so from scratch, so... Also, he says that they are all rushed and we don't get any time to know him. Well, we see his bond with his mother and his attachments when he is evaluated by the Jedi. Comes to say goodbye to Padme, talks to her on the ship, says goodbye to his mom. We see his idealism when he talks about how the biggest problem in the universe is that no one can help each other, and he discusses his dreams to Qui-Gon. In fact, he calls the whole part of Tatooine boring. Well, it is spent developing the characters, aside from the pod race and setting up our hero who rises into a larger conflict. Sound familiar? So Anakin is well-defined and deep, and his already Padme certainly isn't bland. She is in fact a lot like many characters you like, such as Mary Jane or even Leia from the original trilogy. He complains the pod race is pointless. Well, it shows Anakin's well-known piloting skills and helps them get off the planet, wins his freedom, and also it isn't so long. The train fight in Spider-Man 2 or the chase in T-1000 fights in T2 or the trench chase in Episode 4 or any fight with True Lies, etc. They are just as long. Also, Qui-Gon isn't bland either, as Plinkett says. He is stubborn. He believes in trusting his own heart. Is self-confident, unorthodox, believing to live in the here and now. He is fatherly to Anakin. He is ambitious, using darker means to do what he thinks is right. He can be angry at those he thinks are wrong, like Obi-Wan, yet fair, also acknowledging the great Jedi he is. He is brave, etc. Also, he is the risk-taking Jedi, where Obi-Wan isn't a risk-taker and whiny. As Lucas tries to convey a theme that the true wisdom is trusting in your own heart for the right reasons, based on belief in yourself, and trusting in your love for others, which is how Luke becomes a Jedi Master in Episode 6, by refusing to kill his father when the Jedi tell him he should. Oh, and yes, Darth Maul was underdeveloped, but Anakin and Padme weren't just in the background. They were very developed and had arcs, and did a lot in the story. Padme tries to argue in the Senate and gives Palpatine power, and Anakin gets them off the planet. They aren't just digging around in the background. And the film isn't just a special effects demo reel. It in fact has more dialogue scenes than any film in the original trilogy. Yet you guys complain it is boring also. Most illogical. Matthew complains it is never explained what a Sith is. Well, it is. Palpatine comments Maul as a Sith, so Matthew thinks it's a race. But immediately one of the trade guys says there are two of them. So the Sith are the two guys that use the dark side. And then they say there are always two, a master and an apprentice. Hey, and the Jedi have masters and apprentices too. Are you already getting what they are? I mean, really, it is so obvious. They are the users of the dark side. Yet people say they shouldn't have been explicitly said. Really? Really? So it was vague in Spider-Man 2 that Doc Ock helped Peter at the end and turned good, because there wasn't a scene where he said, "I am not a bad person." I mean, you don't need to be that obvious. I mean, come on. He complains it is unclear how you become a Sith. Well, Anakin became a Sith when he joined the dark side, so yeah, I wonder how. And he complains the term is never used in the original trilogy. Well, in the original trilogy, those that used the dark side were never named, so if anything, there was a lack of exposition in the original trilogy. Also, in the first Lord of the Rings, they call the Nazgul the Nine, and in the 2 sequels, they call them the Nazgul. Is that really such a big deal? Also, Red Letter Media says that about the Sith, all we know is that they were bad guys. Well, they are the same villains as the original trilogy, so how are they any better developed there? We know they want to take over the world and suppress other beliefs and believe in hatred and cruelty making them evil. We know their motivation is a belief in the strength of passion and power. We know they think the Jedi are narrow-minded for being against their cruelty and know Palpatine is their leader and they operate in secret. And the questions whether they all ex-Jedi can be just as much asked about insert name of users of the dark side here in the original trilogy. They are the same villains. Get it? Matthew complains that they want revenge for it is unclear. Well, that is only their secondary motivation aside from their belief in suppression. Plinkett says we need to know who our enemies are and why. Well, the same guys in the original trilogy who are starting the Empire the rebels were fighting, the Trade Federation who are killing people off screen, again, as mentioned before, just as the Empire. Get it? Also, Plinkett complains the prophecy is never explained. Well, we know that Jedis have premonitions of the future, and we know the Force can be strong in a specific person, and we know Anakin was conceived by it, so what is vague here? Who and when doesn't really matter. Those are irrelevant details. Luke's backstory was a whole lot vaguer. His family was strong with the Force, so strong only he could stop his father, and that was his destiny. When his family became so powerful, when exactly his father turned evil were all vague. Also, it is clear what he has to do, destroy the Sith, and Plinkett complains anyone with midichlorians and hatred could become a Sith. No, the Sith have their own teachings, like those of Darth Plagueis kill all those who know the ways of the Sith, and boom, they are gone. In fact, they were fought to be extinct, but taught their secrets in hiding. Also, he has to bring balance to the Force, and sorry, but explicitly saying that would be trying to teach philosophy to those who don't get it. The dark side is creating disturbances, so kill the Sith and there is balance. Oh, and let's quickly on a side note rebut a couple of Chris Stuckman criticisms. He complains the politics detract from the excitement of Star Wars. Well, no, because there is still action and adventure, and Star Wars was always about deeper philosophy. He complains about the green screen. That is just a modern form of creating a more complex setting, and IRM created the effects with great direction from George Lucas and a high budget, and it looks great. I mean, Qui-Gon actually walks alongside Watto and really looks at him, and the Jedi hit through the droids with force. Just look at the spaceships of the trade guys. They have mass and size, or just look at the Senate if it's rough and rendered. Compare it to the real spaceships pictures, or just the sets of the original trilogy. There is very little difference. Also, people complain there is much more talking. Okay, so there is plot and character development. Thanks for confirming it isn't just a big video game. And people complain about the humor in this, with lines like the negotiations were short. Well, yeah, it is sarcasm. How is it that any different from the humorous dialogue like in Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, Indiana Jones? Also, just sarcasm is all of a sudden lame now, and C-3PO being surprised his parts are showing and being scared for being sold are the same kinds of jokes as C-3PO being afraid of being destroyed. Sarcasm is funny as it is understanding and thereby parodying the situations, and Anakin talking about C-3PO being sold is a fun character-based humor, as it shows he is a kid, very straightforward. So those are my additional points, and I still say that this is a very, very underrated movie. Remember, please go and see Reviewers 1 down below, or in the click on the video response thing. If it's still down there with YouTube, it could be over there for all I know, but thank you for watching, and again, I hope this video wasn't too long, and I will see you next time. Bye.